With Sherry is a bariatric podcast talking about weight loss surgery. I am not a licensed professional. Any views and or opinions expressed in the show are those of the speakers and do not reflect the bariatric community as a whole. Always reach out to a professional with any medical issues you are experiencing. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unzipped with Sherry with yours truly. I am so excited for this show today. We are going to be interviewing Jen, who had this amazing transformation story, at one time being over 500 pounds and being wheelchair bound. You're about to hear her amazing journey, everything she went through, the ups and downs. I've had the pleasure of getting to know her on a personal level, and I am very honored to call her a friend of mine. And so for those of you watching, we are live right now, so feel free to comment, leave messages, ask questions. We want this to be interactive. You don't want to just hear Jen and I talking the whole time. We want to make it about you guys too. So on that note, buckle up. And Jen, I hope you're ready because we're about to get unzipped. We all have a story on how we got here, right? So for me, I used to be over 350 pounds until one day I made the single decision that I wanted change. Weight loss surgery has saved my life, and now I am here for you. I want to hear your story. You know, the one that happened during that before and after picture. It's time to unzip. What's your story? Hello, gorgeous. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I am so excited today. I get nervous too. Like I had this a much better intro prepared, to bring you in. And then I'm like,
okay.
People are watching, your friends. I don't want them to judge me.
No, never. They're the least. They've known me since my heaviest. Some of them have, so they're the least judgmental people ever.
I know, we're all shit shows sometimes. But I'm so excited because not only have you had this amazing transformation, but I feel like you single-handedly have one of the coolest and most powerful NSVs that you've had to date, which we're going to get into that later. I don't want to give a spoiler right now. But first and foremost, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. It's been such a true honor and privilege getting to know you. We've chatted multiple times now, and it's so nice to be part of such an amazing community where we're very supportive of each other. We're lifting each other up, and
you have to be.
You have to, and to be able to just share some of the struggles that a lot of other people can't understand or relate to. It's just nice.
Yeah, it's insane sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy. So obviously we have some people who know Jen personally, but for those of you who are watching who've never met Jen before, why don't you tell us a little bit about your origin story and what led to your weight gain? No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. My whole family has been big. All of us. I'm the only one left though. So I don't know. It was genetics. And then 14 years ago, I lost my mom to stage 4 lung cancer. And I kind of just gave up. Yeah. And then I lost my dad and gave up even more. And food was comfort. You lose your family and you just kind of give up. So, and that's what I did. And my fiance at the time, who's now my husband, did whatever he could just to make sure I was happy.
Right.
And if I wanted food, and I was homebound. When I met Chris, I was probably about 400 pounds. And then at my heaviest, I hit damn close to 550. And I ate and I ate and I ate. And at one point, it'll be 9 years ago in December, he's like, I can't watch you kill yourself anymore. He's like, you need to do something or I'm gone. And I love him. Yeah. And I didn't want to lose him because I lost everybody else. So I called the surgeon and scheduled a consult.
And then the rest is history. Can I ask you how much time had passed in between both your parents passing away?
5 years.
Okay.
So my dad passed away in September of 2014, and I had surgery February 2015. So my dad passed away right before I
Yeah.
had surgery.
First and foremost, I am so sorry. It's never easy to lose any
No.
loved ones,
Mm-mm.
especially your parents who are like your providers, and your caregivers for so long. Um, and one thing that I'm learning over the years, especially the more I talk to people who've had bariatric surgery and have struggled with obesity, there's usually a lot of emotional elements, whether it's some kind of a childhood trauma or something traumatic that happens in your life that you turn to food because
Oh, yeah.
food's
Food
not
is
gonna.
comforting. Food never goes away. Food is
Right,
always there because you need food to survive.
right.
And now I've learned I don't live I was living to eat, and now I eat to live.
Yes. And I think when it comes to any kind of food addiction, I always say, and I mean, I can't compare it to drug addiction. I've never been addicted to drugs, knock on wood for me. But I always felt like food addiction is far harder of an addiction to overcome because if it comes to something like alcohol or drugs or cigarettes or vices, you can theoretically get rid of them and never touch it for the rest of your life and
But you
be able,
need food.
but you need food to survive. So the thing
Right.
that keeps you alive is also killing you. And trying to
Right.
find that
Exactly.
balance, I think, is probably one of the biggest things that people struggle with the most. And then, so for in your case, being at 400 pounds and then going up to 550, at that time, like, did you realize like how big you were?
No, I didn't look in the mirror. I was living in a recliner. I slept in the recliner. I ate in a recliner. I did everything in that recliner. The
Really?
recliner was that life. Yep. It was one of those big lazy boy chair and a half size recliners.
Yeah.
It was one of those huge ones. And I did everything in that recliner. Chris was my caretaker. I If I didn't have Chris, I would not be here.
Wow. And it just got to the point where he's just like, enough's enough. I'm not
Enough's
doing
enough.
this
I can't
anymore.
watch you kill yourself anymore. Nope.
And how to like, because I know like when I was at my heaviest, like, that you're big, like, that you're not doing what everyone else is doing. But
Right.
then I feel like if somebody makes a comment about it, you're kind of like, F you. Like, why are you putting me on
Why are
display?
you judging me? It's my body.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So like, how did you feel when he basically told you you need to do something or I'm out of here?
I bawled. I remember him like he was walking out the door, and I remember bawling and crying. I'm like, I will do something. I promise. Because I didn't want to lose Chris. I
Right.
didn't, and I still don't.
Yeah. And then, so how long did it take from the time you made that decision to actually going through with the
That was
surgery?
that was Thanksgiving of that year. So I called the surgeon. I remember the date, December 8th.
Mm.
Um, and I saw the surgeon mid-December. I
Okay.
was approved for surgery end of December, and I went in for surgery. I was actually supposed to have surgery on our anniversary, February 21st, but his co-surgeon wasn't there, so I got pushed to the following Monday. So
Wait, so you did.
I went quick. I had so many comorbidities that I didn't, with my insurance, I didn't have to go through the whole rigmarole of 6 months of weight loss, of 6 months of dieting or anything else, because I was insulin resistant before my
Right.
surgery. My A1C was 15.9. Like the
Which
fact that I wasn't in a diabetic coma
was
is
shocking.
was shocking.
So I have to ask because, the average person usually has to wait 6 months to a year, depending on what kind of insurance they have.
Right.
You literally make this decision. You have like your first appointment beginning of December, and like 60 days later, maybe even a few days less, you're on the operating table, like
Operating
having
table. Yep.
surgery. Like how
Yep.
how how do you mentally prepare yourself for such a drastic change in such a short period of time?
Well, 14 years prior, my grandma was going to pay out of pocket for surgery for me. Then my mom was diagnosed with cancer. So all my grandma's excess funds went towards my mom. So the surgeon I had do my surgery was actually going to do it 15 years prior. So I was mentally
Wow.
prepared
Okay.
15 years ago prior to that to have surgery. It just, cancer got in the way and got pushed off. But I firmly believe everything happens for a reason.
Oh, 100%. And
Everything happens for a reason.
we're gonna get into some of the crazy, happenings that have happened to you like over this journey. So it's the morning of surgery. the anesthesia's wearing off, you're in the hospital, like, I'm assuming Chris is there.
He was, yes.
What's going through your mind?
Um, I remember the nurse making me violently ill.
Wait, she made you violently ill?
She had so much perfume on
Oh,
coming out of anesthesia, and I was like, Chris, I'm going to be sick. That's the only thing I really remember after that.
that's so nauseating.
Yeah.
So, and then, so for you, what was the general like recovery like for you? Because I know everybody's different.
Once I came home, it wasn't awful. My stitches popped open. That was the hardest part. Where my ports were, that was the hardest part of surgery, was healing. It took longer than average, my surgeon said, because I had to heal from the inside out.
What causes it to pop open?
He just said it was common. Oh. He didn't really tell me why.
When it pops open, like, are you aware of it? Like, you can feel it?
Oh yeah, you could feel the inside of my stomach. It was gnarly. So I just had to make sure it was packed with gauze and keep it covered. It took a lot longer to heal than a normal.
Oh my God. So like how long did it take from the surgery until you kind of felt like, I think we're on the other side of this, like we're good?
Probably about 5 weeks.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then oh my God, I have so many questions. So one of the things that we haven't really discussed it here on the show, and it's not because we didn't want to. I just hadn't had anybody who knew about it. And when I was going through the surgery, I didn't know that this was an issue. And
my teeth.
Yeah, and it wasn't until like you and I had really talked about it. I had heard a couple people talk about it like on social media, but I never knew like the extent of like what that really meant until I had talked to you. So there is a side effect or some as a result of having bariatric surgery where it can sometimes affect your teeth.
Oh yeah, between being pregnant and gastric bypass, my teeth just went to shit. I will eventually need a partial for all of my back molars. They were extracted earlier this year. You can't tell. I'm very fortunate. None of my missing teeth are prevalent. But yeah, that is a serious side effect. It's something they don't tell you in your pre-op classes.
No, because I had never heard about it until recently, within the last year. And so, what causes that?
Calcium deficiency.
Really?
Yep. Well, your teeth, and because I was sick a lot in the beginning of my pregnancy, so I was vomiting a lot. So your enamel wears down from vomiting.
Well, that was going to be my other question too, because I know that some people can get very sick for long periods of time after the surgery. Sometimes it's very simple. If you just ate it too fast, it went down wrong, you ate too much.
Stuck.
So you threw up a lot in the beginning?
Yeah, what I thought, because I was a year and a half, almost 2 years out of my surgery when I got pregnant. Oh yeah, so we'll go into that story.
We're getting into that. Don't worry.
I had no idea I was pregnant. I was a year and a half out, 2 years, and I just thought I was getting sick from eating. So I had no idea I was pregnant.
Right. And then so like, was it something that started happening gradually? Like, as far as like, did you notice anything firsthand? Like, did you notice like a sensitivity with your teeth? Was there any like warning signs?
My teeth became very sensitive to cold.
Okay.
And I also noticed my iron was low because I was eating a lot more ice. So I did iron infusions for a while. And when my iron got better, I wasn't eating ice as often, but my teeth had still gone to crap by then.
You know, and okay, so I have a question for you. So I had a guest on the show like a month or so ago, Jamie, and she was talking about having a low iron deficiency. And because she's also a nurse, so she knew that her iron was low because she said that the ice tasted differently. It tasted sweet to her.
Yep.
That's true?
Yeah. It doesn't taste sweet, but it has a different taste. When I know my iron is low when I want to eat more ice.
Interesting. So you crave the ice when that happens.
Yep.
So now since then, like, does the doctor say that you have to like increase calcium or increase iron to help prevent it from getting worse?
I take iron anyway. Okay. I don't take but I will openly admit I do not take my vitamins the way I'm supposed to. I'm 9 years out. It's probably why I'm calcium deficient.
Right.
Between, just the full Roux-en-Y and being pregnant. I'm not pregnant anymore, but from when I was pregnant.
Right.
But yeah, I will take iron for the rest of my life because I live in Michigan and
It's cold.
there's that. It's cold and iron helps keep me warm, but yeah,
I know. Just you telling me like that it snowed last week. Like I
Oh
already
yeah,
started
it was
getting like
brutally
chicken
cold here
skin.
last week.
Yeah, I can't. I'm from sunny California, and right, like when it gets like 50 here, I'm like, okay, can we like turn the sun up? Like it is way too cold right now. I
Yeah,
can't
it
handle this.
looks like it's gonna rain here again.
So okay, so I don't even think I've asked you this question before, but it just popped to me. When you had the surgery, you were living in a recliner 24/7.
Yes. Yep.
How long did it take before you slept in bed for the first time?
God. I don't even remember. Probably
Really?
2 months, probably till
Okay.
I didn't feel like I had all that weight on my chest anymore. Because I
Yeah.
had sleep apnea, but God forbid I use my CPAP machine.
Well,
Um,
nobody wants to use it.
no one wants to use that damn thing. Probably 2 or 3 months.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
actually. What was it like sleeping in bed for the first time? Like, did it give you anxiety because like you were
No,
worried,
because I
or
slept in bed in the beginning of my relationship with Chris. And
okay,
then as I got bigger, I couldn't get comfortable. My legs were huge. Every part of me was huge. I
right?
couldn't get comfortable anywhere but that recliner.
And then how was it in the beginning? About how long did it take for you to find yourself like walking around a little bit more, or like being able to handle like the even simple tasks much easier than before?
Cleaning the house. Just cleaning the house and doing mundane things that I couldn't do beforehand. A couple weeks, I was
Okay.
trying to do as much as I could to get mobility back. Like I
Yeah.
would keep chairs nearby to be steady or take a break as I needed. But that's something I tell, like my friend Michelle had the sleeve done, I don't know, about a month ago. And she was out working in the yard and she overdid it. I'm like, I told you, you got to go slow. You can't push yourself. You're going to make yourself sick, make yourself dizzy.
I know. I'm notorious for that. I push
I
myself.
still am.
I push myself way. I'm like, I can freaking do it. And then your back's like, no, you can't. I'm going
No,
to show you
no,
why.
you
Boom. Like
can't.
you're down for
Yep,
that.
exactly.
Oh, it's so annoying. Um, it's so funny too. Well, it's not funny, but it's very humbling to realize sometimes how the most mundane, simplest tasks in life at some point people take for granted.
For
And
granted. Yeah.
was there anything there's anything you were able to do that you didn't realize how much of a struggle it was before until all of a sudden it became easier?
Hmm.
I like putting you on the spot.
Yeah, because I don't remember. It was so long ago.
No, and that's fair.
um,
Because you're 9 years out. I'm like 8 years
yeah.
out.
Going grocery shopping.
Like actually going to the store.
Going to the store and going grocery shopping by myself.
How was it?
Exciting.
Which is good. Which like I remember like this. I try to avoid the market in the very beginning because we joke that people don't realize how many references there are to food
Oh yeah,
everywhere.
everywhere.
And when you are relying on a 1 ounce sip, like every 10 to 15 minutes or whatever,
Oh,
and the TV is food and the radio is food and the movies are
food.
food, and then you go
Driving down the road,
outside.
you see billboard signs. It's
It is
everywhere.
true. So then that's a good question. So like how was it mentally for you in the beginning? Like because you use food as a crutch to help with emotional support and like deal with issues. How was it having it completely removed from you now and you can't rely on it?
I listened to a lot of music and I gamed a lot.
You
I used to
gamed
play
it?
World of Warcraft with Chris. Yep, that's what I did.
Really?
Yep. And we don't
Okay.
play, either of us don't play anymore, but yeah. Um oh, we had a dog. That's what I did too. The mundane thing people take for granted. I could walk the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
And that helped too. The simple things I couldn't do where I would normally turn to food, I would try something new, like
yes.
walking the dog. 3 years ago now, I joined the gym. I've been a gym member for 3 years now, and I haven't been to the gym but once the past 2 weeks. And I miss it. I miss going to the gym.
Isn't that like, you would have never
Oh
said that
God.
before. Like, I wouldn't say,
Mm-mm.
I hate the gym so much. And then it wasn't until this year, I got frustrated after being stalled for years. I was like, I haven't done it. Let me just try this and see what it's about. And when you start doing it, sucks in the very beginning.
Oh, it does. It was awful.
But after a while, when you build this habit and you kind of create like this new lifestyle, when my back went out and I wasn't going anymore, all of a sudden
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
you and I
I
talked
want
about
to
that.
go. Yeah,
I
I
want to
want
go
to
to the
go.
gym.
And people
Yeah.
are like, that's not you. Like, you would have
No.
never said that before. I'm like, it's not until you
15 years
can't
ago,
do.
you would never hear me say I want to go to the gym.
No.
Now I hate missing the gym.
Yeah.
It feels
Which
like my day isn't complete when I don't go.
absolutely. So, question for you. So, being at your highest, which I believe you said was like around 547 pounds, if I'm
Yep.
not mistaken, and then how long did it take you to lose pretty much all of the weight to the point where it was kind of like balanced and
Um, Probably the beginning of this year.
really?
I'm where I want to be. As of this morning, I was 168 and I'm comfortable here. I have a ton of extra skin still. However, insurance will not pay for a second tummy tuck or a second skin
Right.
reduction.
But you've had
I
a
had a
tummy
tummy tuck
tuck
done.
before,
I had a tummy tuck of
and
September of 2015.
and that was covered by insurance. And
It
I'm
was
assuming
because
now
it was
I'm gonna
deemed medically necessary. Yep.
because yeah, I was gonna say I can assume that being at that weight, and I'm assuming you probably lost over 200 pounds at that point.
I had. Yep. I was down. I was at, I think the morning of surgery, I was two 240
That's
ish the
freaking
morning of my
incredible.
tummy tuck. Yeah.
And so
The morning of my tummy tuck is a whole nother story, Sherry.
yeah, so we are
I
going
went
to
in.
get into
Go
that.
ahead.
No, I'm not cutting you out. I'll say we're going to get into that right now. So,
Okay.
uh, Jen told me this incredible story that she made the decision that I'm going to have a tummy tuck. I'm going to have the excess skin removed. Insurance covers it. You're mentally preparing yourself like, oh, I'm like, it's going to be gone. I'm able to do all this other stuff. And then what happens the morning of your scheduled surgery?
My mother-in-law, my future mother-in-law at the time, is flying in from Oklahoma, and I have to call her to tell her I'm not having surgery that morning.
You're
Uh,
not.
no, I'm not, because women, when they go in for surgery, they have to do a urine screen to make sure you're not pregnant.
Right.
And the nurse comes out of the bathroom and she says, "Is there any chance you're pregnant?" And I was like, "No," and I was. That's how I found out I was pregnant the morning of my tummy tuck, September 1st, 2015.
You literally are going in visualizing this smaller
Huge
stomach,
mass.
this tight, it's gonna get tight, this huge mass is getting removed from you, and
Yep.
then you're already cleared, you do all of the pre-op stuff,
All the pre-work,
you're
all of it.
mentally prepared for the aftermath and like all of these things, and they're like, yeah, no, this is not happening. In
Nope,
fact,
not happening today. You got to wait a few months.
yeah, in fact, your stomach is actually going to grow more now because
Yep.
you have a little tiny human inside of you.
I have a little human growing inside of me. Yep. And that's why when I said I was getting sick, it's because I had morning sickness.
And you weren't putting two and two together.
Nope. I was 2 years out and I had no idea. I thought I was just getting sick from eating, but nope, I was pregnant.
And so what goes through your mind when your entire trajectory that you just had planned for the next few months is completely derailed?
I was in the process of planning a big wedding too. I was engaged to Chris at the time, and we went from planning a big wedding to planning a big baby shower. I actually found out I was pregnant September 1st, and Chris and I got married September 5th of the same year.
Wow, 4 days later.
4 days later.
Wow.
Yep. Labor Day weekend.
Now, because of your health issues before, had you ever tried to get pregnant in the past or no?
No, and I never thought I could get pregnant because I was so big for so long. I thought for sure that I had done damage to my insides and
Right.
all the female parts, but apparently not, because I have a healthy 6-year-old who will be 7 in April.
Which is absolutely incredible, and she's gorgeous too.
Thank you.
So then my question. So then, what was the pregnancy portion like for you dealing
Um,
with hormone issues, eating for
I
two?
I gained 50 pounds with my pregnancy.
Okay.
And I lost it all pretty relatively quickly. Very fortunate, knock on wood. And it was the happiest time of my life. I loved being pregnant. She is the light of my life, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change how I found out I was pregnant or anything. She drives me nuts some days, but
Well, the kids are
I
supposed
wouldn't
to.
change it. Yeah.
Their
But yeah.
job is to give you gray hair, stress you
Yes.
out, and then
Yep.
say, I love you, and everything just goes out the freaking window because you just can't deny
Exactly.
that.
Yep.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I just like, I don't know, like what I would do if I was in that situation. I feel like I would have a full mental breakdown.
Oh, I did. I
Because was that,
bawled. I cried. I bawled. And
yeah.
then I called my future father-in-law and said, "Are you ready to be a grandpa?" And he's like, "What?" I said, "Well, you're going to be a grandpa." And he flew in from Oklahoma the next day.
Oh my God, that is just so cool. So then but you ended up having
I did.
after the fact.
She was born in April, and I had my tummy tuck in June. And I remember the first fully conscious moment after my tummy tuck, because I used to have this mass that hung down to my knees because they
Right.
removed 37 pounds of skin and fat. So the first thing I remember doing is holding my little baby infant on my knee because in my lap, because I had a lap.
Wait,
I didn't have a lap before because
but
I had all this skin and this mass that hung to my knee and covered everything. So the first thing I did after waking up from surgery and they could bring my daughter in, my mother-in-law brought her in, was I held my daughter on my lap because I had a lap.
wait, back the Smurf up. Did you say 37 pounds?
He took off 37 pounds of skin and fat during my tummy tuck. I
Holy
think
shit.
before, I think he said it was the most he's ever removed.
Because I always assume like when they remove excess skin, it's like 20, 30 pounds, and they're like, no, in reality, it's for the average person, it's like around 6 to 10 pounds of
No, he removed
skin.
37 pounds of skin and fat. I think it was like 37.8.
Holy crap. Okay, this
Yeah.
is very morbid. Did anybody take a picture of it?
No, I probably
Oh,
wish I would have, but no one did.
I feel like I'm torn because there's a part of me that wants to see it to like for the validation, but then
Right.
there's a part of me that's gonna be like, oh, I don't really need to see that.
He pulled my tummy tuck so tight. Had an open gallbladder scar that used to go left and right that now goes up and down.
Wait,
That's how tight he pulled my tummy tuck.
that is insane.
Yeah.
So you feel okay, so I know like most people will have like from what I understand, you have skin removal surgery. Like you're recovering, like you're swollen. You don't really feel much of a difference until the body like over time like, the swelling goes down and you can really see the results. I have to imagine with 37 pounds, you feel an
Oh,
instant
I felt it
difference.
right away because I could see my lap. I could see my thighs. I couldn't see my thighs most of my adult life because there was fat hanging over it.
Right.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like that literally just like blows me away because I'm trying to visualize like 37 pounds. It's like 3 bowling balls. That's just that's hard, and
Yeah.
that's just isolated in one area.
Yeah. My stomach and my, what they call your apron. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. So one thing that I was so blown away by your story is you had told me something that had happened, and we all have a different journey. We all have a different story. Like we all have things that are more like that are important to us as far as things that you can accomplish, what we call an NSV, or for people who don't know what an NSV is, it's a non-scale victory. So it's something that you've accomplished that either you've never been able to do before or haven't done in a very long time. And everybody's NSV is going to have more significance and importance to them. I know some people like the first major one for people is being able to tie your shoes without keeling over and being in pain. Some are more powerful than others, but yours, when you were telling me about this specific NSV that you went through, I literally got chills like up and down my spine because of how visually powerful and what it represented like me, like
You are
obviously you
you
know what I'm
talking about the
talking about.
recliner?
Yes, I was like, I hope you know
Oh,
what I'm talking about. It's your
yes,
NSV.
the recliner. So, the recliner I lived in for years, we got rid of it. Chris
Hmm.
took it outside, and Chris gave me a sledgehammer, and I closed that chapter of my life, and I beat the shit out of the recliner.
What?
I beat the arms off of it. I beat the
You can
reclining
say
leg
shit.
part
It's
of
fine.
it.
You beat the shit
I
out of it.
I beat the shit out of that chair because that part of my life, like even for I don't know about almost a year after surgery, I kept that recliner because I could sit in it sideways and have my
Mm,
legs hang over the side because I was so much tinier than the chair when I used to
right.
take up the entire chair. So, and I told Chris, I'm like, I don't want this chair anymore. It was old and ugly, and I wasn't going back to that part of my life anymore. So Chris lugged it outside into the front yard, gave me a sledgehammer, and I beat the living daylights out of it. And then we took it to the trash.
How did it feel? Like just going ham all over
Flip
it.
amazing. It was I have video on it somewhere. It's probably buried in my Facebook somewhere. But yeah, it was one of the best days of my life.
That's such a perfect visual representation of the journey that you went on and how there was this thing that you had to rely on literally to survive every single
Oh yeah.
day. And to be able to, you know, step back and be like, I don't smurf and need you anymore. Like
Nope.
you served your purpose. I am above it now. Was there a part of you that held on to it longer than you needed to as like a
Oh yeah.
security
It
or
was a
like,
comfort thing.
yeah.
It was definitely a comfort thing.
Was there ever a fear at some point that you were ever worried that you were going to be back there?
Nope.
You just knew.
I knew I wasn't going back.
I know, because and like besides being pregnant, during that phase, did you ever really have any much regain since you had your surgery?
Um, I teeter now between like 165 and 170 ish, but no,
Oh,
I've
that's
never.
not a difference.
Besides the pregnancy, no, I haven't had any regain,
Good for you.
and
Okay,
I'm close to a decade out. It'll be a decade next year, not this coming February, but the following February.
this coming February.
No, this coming February will be 9 years.
Oh, got
So
it, got it, got it.
February of 2024 will be a decade.
Wait a minute. So you were sleeved in 2014?
I was RNY in 2014. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was in 20. Oh, you were.
Yep.
Because I was 2014 too. I was September.
Yep.
Oh, so we're like sleeve twinsies or
We are.
bariatric twinsies or you're twinsies. Um, Yeah, I absolutely love that. And then you had another NSV that I thought was really interesting because it's not one that's on my bucket list yet. But you did a 5K.
I've done 3 of them now.
You've done 3 5Ks.
Yep. I was going to do another one next month, but the company who runs my 5Ks isn't doing a Thanksgiving one. I've done 2 of them in person and 1 virtual. I don't run them because I need a new knee, but I've walked 3 5Ks since September of last year.
That's fantastic. And what made you decide to do the first one?
I've been tossing around the idea for about a year at that point. And I kept, because, Big Brother is always listening, I kept getting ads for it on Facebook.
Right.
And I was like, Chris, I really want to do it. He's like, well, what's stopping you? I was like, nothing. He's like, then sign up for it. So I did.
See, okay, so this is what I love. And like we've joked about it, like even when it came time to writing my book, is like you make excuses as to why you're not going to do something.
Oh
And
yeah.
then you have a partner who's like, how about stop talking about it? Just fucking do it. Just
Yep.
go out there, like stop making excuses. And then like there's a part of you that's like almost offended. And then you become
Yeah.
snarky and then you become stubborn. Well, now I'm going to do it just to shut you up. And
Right.
like my thing is, whatever your motivation is to go out and do something that you've never done before, just do it.
And I love doing the 5Ks now. This year wasn't so bad as last year. I have disc disease on my neck. So the 5K outside is through an apple orchard. So you're staring down at the trail to make sure you don't like trip over anything.
Right.
So last year, being my first year, it was hell. But this year it wasn't bad because I was a little more familiar with the terrain. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it again next September. And I knocked 10 minutes off my 5K this year.
Hell yeah. Okay, I've never done one yet. I should do one.
You should, even if you just walk it. There's plenty of walkers. I saw more walkers than I saw runners.
Which I can probably walk it easily. Like I've done, like because a 5K is like 3.3 miles or
3.1,
something. 3.1.
3.10. Yep.
Yeah, I can walk that. I've just never done it like in a forum with like other people actually like,
Yep. It's fun.
I should do it. I'll do
I put my music on in my earbuds and zone out, and it is an adrenaline rush.
is it.
And
All right.
then the last, like, I don't know, eighth of a mile, if that, I usually run across the finish line because you get that adrenaline rush as you see the end goal.
Oh, that I can see 100%. Like
Yep.
there's been times where I've had certain training sessions or certain like events where you are running out of gas and you are running out of steam. But then something happens in the, like you said, like the last 10 minutes, or like when you know that it's about to be over, it's
Yeah.
like it's something inside of you just kind of like pushes you over that
Yep.
edge, and you want to and I love the visual of like finishing strong. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
how much you walked in the beginning, but there's something like it just helps you psychologically knowing that
Oh,
like
yeah.
I ran over that finish line.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna come to Michigan and I'll do one with you.
Deal.
Okay. One of the things that I loved when we were talking. Oh, are you guys okay? Did you hear that?
Nope, didn't hear anything.
Okay, good. It you have like I really love you kind of have this saying with when it regards to the surgery is that they can change your stomach but not
They
your
fix
mind.
your stomach, they don't fix your brain.
Yes, you said it
Yep.
way better than I did.
And I tell everyone who's considering the surgery, they fix your stomach, they don't fix your brain. If your brain isn't fixed before their surgery, you will fail miserably.
And what do you suggest are like some really good tips to
If you
prepare?
aren't mentally prepared, um, if you haven't figured out what triggers you and your eating problems, it's just going to carry you over after surgery.
Right. I
So
have
if
to.
that means you go to therapy, go to therapy. If that
Mm,
means you go to the gym before surgery, go to the gym before surgery. Even if you can't and you think
right.
you can't, try. If that means you have to walk around the block for some kind of exercise, do it. If it means find a support group. There are a million support groups online. Find one.
Yeah, and because we had at the same time, there was not a lot of social media talking about it back then.
Oh
There
no.
there, there
When you and
wasn't.
I had surgery,
Yeah.
this stuff wasn't around.
No, there was no TikTokies. There was no,
Nope.
Instagram support groups. There was no Facebook
Mm-mm.
support groups. And for Bobby, who commented that he feels attacked for the people who don't know what NSV is, I
Did you not
wasn't.
know, Bobby?
I was not directing that towards you. There are people watching the show right now who have not had the surgery and don't
I
always
didn't know
know.
what it was until about 2 years into my surgery.
See,
I
there
was
you
in a
go.
support group and I didn't know what the hell an NSV was. I was like, "Can someone tell me?" Because
Yeah,
I had to Google it because I didn't know what NSV was either.
yeah,
So don't
100%.
feel alone, Bobby. I didn't know either.
Yeah, don't be hating, Bobby. It's all good. Jason talks about Berry Nation. That's a group that he's a part of. It's a podcast that he does and a support group on Instagram where they do live feeds, and they do on their website. They have tons of resources, whether it's nutrition help or psychological help or mental health help. So you guys can go check out Jason at Berry Nation and get other resources. So because like we said, we didn't have those support groups back then.
Right.
What were like how did you really keep yourself in check, because there's some pretty dark times that come with bariatric surgery.
Um, in the beginning, I spoke at my surgeon's seminars. So that kept me motivated and kept me accountable because I was speaking on behalf of my surgeon about my progress. So I had people who were considering surgery, who were in the pre-op stages, looking at me because look how far she's come in such little
Right.
time. So that helped. And Chris was an amazing support, and I couldn't have done it without him. And
Absolutely.
my brother, he was my biggest cheerleader.
I love it. Now, so question. So you have like this major life altering surgery. You go from whatever you were eating before to having 1 ounce sips and protein and no pasta and no carbs. But meanwhile, your partner is not on this restrictive diet.
Mm-mm.
How was it for him? Like, did he ever like? because I know like with my husband, he felt so guilty that he was eating normally. I'm like, why are you feeling guilty? Like you didn't put yourself through this.
We still have this argument today. If we
Really?
go out, oh yeah, if we go out to eat, because I can't eat chicken breast. I'm 9 years out almost, and I still can't eat a chicken breast. And
Wait,
he's like, "Well, what do you want to eat?"
does it make you nauseous or
It
what?
gets stuck, and
Oh,
it just
okay.
comes back up. Well, what do you want to eat? I don't care. What do you want? He's like, well, you pick. You have less things you can eat. I was like, you pick. I will figure out something to eat wherever we go. 9 years out, it's still a battle. He doesn't ever really feel guilty. He just wants to make sure wherever we end up going out to eat,
Yeah.
there's something on the menu I can eat. That's
Yeah.
our biggest debate about where to go.
I also learned, I don't think it's necessarily a bariatric thing too. I think all married couples or all relationships have the same conversation. Like, what do you want to eat? Whatever you want is fine. Okay, how about this? No, I don't want that.
No, I don't want that.
Then what do you want? Whatever you pick, babe, is good. Okay, how about this? No, I'm not feeling that. And then like an hour goes by and you're ordering fucking pizza because no one's made a decision. And like,
no one's made a decision. You just get pizza. Yep.
So frustrating.
It is.
Now I'm curious because now when you were growing up, like were you more of an active, like an outgoing person, or were you more like reserved?
I was very bubbly. I had friends.
Okay.
I had some friends.
Okay.
But I was still the fat kid on the street. My friend group was very small. And that I actually talked to you about that. I guess we will circle back to that. My 20-year high school reunion was supposed to be coming up.
Yeah.
And they added me to a Facebook group chat about it. And 20 years later, those people can still make me cry. I went to school for 12 years with those kids, and 20 years later, they can still. And I wanted to go back and say, look at me now. Mm-hmm. But it got canceled because not enough people were interested in going. My class wasn't big, but.
Isn't that funny how karma works? You and I had talked about, because you were, before it had gotten canceled, you were very on the fence about whether or not you even wanted to go.
I was.
And the advice that I had given you was, if you're going to decide not to go, it needs to be because you frankly don't give a shit and you don't need it to prove anything.
But I don't. And the people who I want to know me are still in my life. They've seen me from 550-pound Jen to 165-pound Jen. Right. They've seen me transform from beginning to end. And those are the people I care about. And a few of us are getting together for margaritas and tacos.
Which I love that.
That's what it's going to be, because we could give a rat's ass less about going back to the reunion and seeing those people who were brutally.
Which is good, because I told you, like, if you were choosing not to go strictly because of fear, I said, we're knocking that shit off. We're not doing that shit.
Right.
And I'll tell you this, you and I bonded over that because I was bullied in high school. I was the one who sat in the back of the class. I was a nobody. I was, always the fattest one in the room. So when my 10 year came on, and I was even bigger at my 10 year than in high school, I was like, I'm not going. And I didn't go.
I was the same way.
And when it came time to my 20 year, which was, I think 2 years ago, 2019, I was the smallest I'd ever been in my entire life. I was actually smaller than I ever was in high school. And I wanted to go, one, because I wanted to do it for me. I didn't want to be afraid to like avoid people like that. And then two, there was something somewhat kind of made you feel good that those people that you envied in high school are not as all sunshine and rainbows as they used to be.
That's what I wanted. I wanted that karma feeling, like, what you get for making fun of me. You're not all you were cracked up to be 20 years ago.
But I will tell you, it is, excuse my language, but there's disclaimers when I post it later. It's a mind fuck. These people who never gave you the time of day, who wouldn't talk to you, who didn't give two flying shits about you, or all of a sudden walking up to you and having a conversation and, oh, what's life been like the last 20 years? And you're like, you didn't give two flying shits because
about me then. But why do you care now?
Yep. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, because you feel that we're more aesthetically pleasing to you, like we're okay. We have value enough for you to have a conversation with. And
I can't, Bobby. It was canceled.
Yeah, we were going to make her go, Bobby, don't worry. But it got canceled because there wasn't enough interest in it, which is fine. And you know what? The fact that you're going to do something with some of your friends anyway, I think is even better. honestly. Um, so have you had to deal with that? Have you had people treat you differently or all of a sudden come back from the past and want to be your friend now if they saw you?
Yes. And I go back to my home. Like we went to the next town over the fair this summer. And
Mhm.
a guy I went to high school with is now a county sheriff or a county sheriff deputy. Um See, that's exactly that's my husband, Chris Reese.
Hi,
Um
Chris.
we went to I went to the fair and I ran into the deputy, and I went to school with him for 12 years. And I was like, "Hi, Sean." And he's like, "Do I know you?" I was like, "I went to school with you for 12 years." And I have to introduce myself with my maiden
Mm.
name because no one knows me.
Right.
Most people don't know me with my married name. So, yeah, they don't know who I am. So, yeah, sometimes they come back and they're like, "Oh, you want to be how have you been?" I'm like, "You didn't care about me then.
Right.
Why do you care about me now?" Get
Exactly.
lost.
Like the friends who are with you at your worst and are there for you during your lows, those are the ones who deserve you at your best.
Yep.
And it's so frustrating because I've had it happen on more than one occasion over the last 8 years. And like I said, it really does mess with you at times because you're like, I'm my outside might have changed, but I'm still the same
I'm still the
person
same person
on the
inside that I
inside.
was 20 years ago. Yep.
Yeah. And I live in like I'm from LA. We're assholes out here. We're very into like appearances and looks and aesthetics and stuff. So yeah, it's so freaking annoying. Um so besides the recliner and the 5K, because those are two huge amazing things, is there anything else that kind of sticks out in your mind, like some of your favorite, little
Mm,
victories since surgery?
um, I don't know. I really, besides going to the gym, I love going to the gym. I will pump that up.
Do you do weights or do you do like classes and stuff?
I I take some classes every now and then because I go to Planet Fitness.
Hmm.
They offer the trainer at the smaller gym I go to has classes. I don't know. I don't think so. Not that anything is like sticking out.
I have,
Um,
well, I mean, like, I don't have kids yet, but I would assume
oh yeah,
being
yeah.
able to keep up
Jillian,
with your kids
and
would be
having
huge.
Jillian, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I never thought I would get pregnant. Um, she is the light of mine and Chris's world. She
Yeah.
makes our world go round.
And
And
I can imagine just her presence being here is enough to keep you
it keeps
focused
me on track.
daily.
Because
Yeah, to make
I can do things with her. I can oh my God, that
ah!
yes. Thank you, Chris. I still have it, my hoodie. The first time I could buy a pair of jeans at the store and I didn't have to order clothes um from a catalog because I went from wearing like a 6X pair of stretchy pants and a 6X t-shirt to buying a pair of jeans just at Walmart
Off the
because I could
rack.
go into the store and buy a pair of jeans. And I have the first hoodie that I could buy post-op at Walmart. It's my Detroit Tigers hoodie. It's ginormous on me now because it's like a
Yeah.
men's 3X, but I won't get rid of it
No, you can't.
because I can't. It's the only thing I have that's still huge on me. But yeah, buying clothes in a normal size at a normal store and buying what I want and not have to order from a catalog.
Yeah, I totally forget about that too. Because, there comes a time where you're so many years removed that you're doing all of these crazy things now that you would have never done before, but you forget about the very beginning ones. And like,
Yeah.
I could only shop at Lane Bryant. That was the only store that I
Oh
could
yeah,
find.
Lane Bryant and Torrid, and they're
And
so
Torrid.
expensive. Oh my
I
God.
know. And they're like, okay, in the 90s and like early 2000s, the clothing styles were not made for young people. They were
No,
made
and
for
they're
like
still not.
women in their 50s, which there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with being in your 50s. You are beautiful.
I
But if
did.
you're
I saw a
23
print.
years old, you don't want to wear clothes
Old
that
lady
make you
clothes.
feel, yeah.
No.
And I'll
Mm-mm.
never forget the first time going into a Kohl's and I remember getting a pair of jeans. I'm like, these aren't gonna fit. And my husband's like, just try them on. I'm like, these are not gonna fit. Just try them on. And then you try them on, you're like, and it's the
And I
greatest
still do it.
feeling.
Like this tank top I have on is probably too big, but like this is a large sweater. Never
Mhm.
in my life did I think I was going to be a large sweater or like a size 4 pair of jeans. Never in my life did I thought that was going to be possible. All my
I
friends
love
are
that.
here.
I know, I love it. You guys are so amazing. So what do you think would be in store for you? Like, what's a goal that you have that maybe you haven't done yet that you might want to shoot for? Like, what is a future NSV or non-scale victory for Bobby?
I what I wanted to do, but I can't do because I'm like I wanted to ride a roller coaster at Cedar Point. Chris is a huge roller coaster fan.
But why can't
Um,
you?
I have whipping my head back and forth on a roller coaster is probably not the
Well,
wisest idea.
what if it depends on the roller coaster that doesn't have like a whippy?
Oh, maybe, possibly. I haven't really thought about it, but yeah, fast things scare the bejesus out of me.
Okay, heights scare the bejesus out of me.
Yeah,
I literally
heights
just
and speed.
yeah, I literally just
But
watched
it's
this
something
video
I've like. It's something I wanted to do because I've never rode roller coaster in my life
ever.
ever.
Okay, so you need to cut.
I've done water rides, but I've never done like an actual roller coaster. And I
Oh,
live we're like 2.5 hours from Cedar Point, probably not far.
I don't know what Cedar Point is.
It's an amusement park.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. I was like, I feel like I should be in the know, but I'm like I said, I'm in
No, you're yeah.
California.
Sorry, it's
It's but
it's a
so like
huge amusement park. It's in
okay,
Ohio, so
if
across the
you
border.
if you come here to visit, because you're gonna come here to visit,
Okay.
we I'm about like I don't know, like I'm like 3 hours from Disneyland where I'm at right now.
Oh,
Um,
that
or
is on my agenda in the future years with my in-laws, and there's too many people at Disney World.
well, not Disney World. I'm not like that's Florida.
I
Disney,
know that that's where we're
but
going.
oh, Disney World is definitely a bucket list for me. I've never been, but we have Universal Studios, we have Disneyland, we have Knott's Berry Farm, we have Six Flags. Six Flags is like an hour from me. Um, I don't do the Six Flags thing because some of those are a little too scary for me.
Yeah.
But I would go with you, and I will watch you go on some of these roller coasters, and I will cheer you on with glee, and you'll find me in the kiddie ride area. Like that's where I'm gonna be.
Yeah, that's what I would do with Jillian. That child has no fear. She'd ride an adult roller coaster. She's
Heck
got no
yes.
fear.
Oh, so Chris says Cedar Point is the second largest coaster park.
Yeah.
Oh well, now I need to look it up. So if I come to visit, you're gonna take me there, right, Chris?
Chris will. He'll go with you. Not my ass.
You're going too. You're not going to go on every single ride, but we're getting you on at least one roller coaster. It could be like one of the
Deal.
more like medium kind of ones.
Yeah, Chris, that's what Chris wants to do, and he doesn't want to. He feels bad doing things without me, so we don't go because I'm terrified to go because of my neck.
I get that though. You know, it's like because you and I have talked even just like with my back going out, like it kind of creates like this new element of fear. Like you're so worried about making it worse
Yeah,
that
like I was on vacation this summer in Virginia with Captured, and I had took my pain medication because I was hurting, and I signed up for the 5K, half stoned out of my mind on pain meds. And she's like, "Should you be doing this?" I was like, "Too late now. I already did.
we're gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it."
But it sucks because you have to have an element of safety, you know, to make because the last thing you want is to make things worse and then like further your progression. But at the same time, is sometimes we get too fearful over it that we're not giving ourselves a chance to overcome it onto the other side and push ourselves
You
just a
did say
little
Kit Kat.
bit.
Yeah, and I try to push myself, and there's days I push myself too hard.
Yeah. Well, I can't condemn you for that because I do the same shit. That's why we're in
Yeah,
this
I think we
position
all
right
do
now.
at some point.
It's so annoying. So if somebody's watching this right now and they're about to have gastric sleeve or RNY or one of the bariatric surgeries, what do you think would be like the biggest piece of advice you would want to give them?
That they fix your stomach, not your brain. That's what I tell everybody. I always circle back to that.
It's really important. Like, and we talked, they don't prepare you enough for the mental health aspect of it.
They don't. Not at all. Like the only prereq I had to do for surgery was one therapy visit. That's the only thing I had to do.
Yeah, that was me too.
That's it.
And like I said, back then we didn't have this plethora of resources that we have now. So I'm very vocal. Like, do not think that you're admitting defeat if you need to seek help. If you need someone to talk to
a dietitian, talk to a nutritionist, talk to a therapist.
There's
reach out to someone who's had surgery. Everyone's
Yes.
struggle is different with surgery. So talk to multiple people if you need to. There's
Right.
enough people in Facebook groups and TikTok and Instagram and every platform of social media out there. Someone will listen and someone will give you some kind of their support, so their advice, their support, their
Yes.
story of with their surgery.
Absolutely, because I wish that we had all of these resources back then, because I don't know how you were, but I was a Googler and I would have things happen and I didn't know what was happening, so I would
Oh yeah.
Google it and then
And then you go down the rabbit hole of, oh my God, this is way worse than it really is.
yeah. Oh, no, I always had cancer. I always have a form of cancer. I was dying. I had 6 months
Yep.
to live because my mouth was metallic or tasted like sucking on pennies, and then like it's not until years later that you talk to all these people and you're like, oh, you're in ketosis, or oh, this is why it happens. And so
Yep.
now, like, I love being able to, when other people are having that meltdown panic mode, I'm like, wait, I was already in your shoes. You don't need to Google anything because we got this. Like, it's completely normal.
The
Your doctor.
hardest is when you read the Facebook group with another people are struggling at a stall. Like, well, are you eating enough?
Mm,
And people look at you like you're stupid. Well, you have to eat or you're not going to lose because your body
right,
goes into starvation mode. And people
right,
are like, well, I've had surgery. Well, yeah, but you still need to eat. Like 600 calories is not enough. And people aren't
right.
grasping that. And
No,
that terrifies me. Like, you have to eat or
yeah.
you're not going to lose.
I think people are so terrified of having regain
Yeah.
that they go overboard and they're not eating enough. And then sometimes what happens if you're not eating enough, you're going to gain weight because your
Because
body's
once you,
literally,
yep, you're
it's holding
holding
on
on to
to it.
what that little bit you do put in. Yep.
Right. Like, and it's funny because with the trainer that I have right now, he's been putting me on a meal plan, and he did research on bariatric surgery, like how many ounces I should eat. And the meal plan that he put me on, it's like eating like every 2 hours, but like eating like 3 ounces here. And I'm like, dude, like I can't freaking eat this much. I can't drink
Yeah.
this much. And he goes, the important thing is that you need to be eating throughout the day. Like, you want your metabolism to start breaking it down, because there are people who, I'm notorious for forgetting to eat sometimes, and it'll
Me
be
too.
like
And
two,
Chris yells at me all the
yeah,
time.
and it's 2, 3 in the afternoon. You're like, holy shit, I haven't eaten anything, and like
Yep.
that could be more dangerous because then your body's not breaking it down properly. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have other issues down the road. So the important thing is, like you said, like this is gonna fix your stomach. It's not gonna fix your brain.
Yep.
Whatever drove you to obesity, it's not going to go away just because your stomach is cut. You're going to have to learn to find ways to deal with issues, to get other ways of emotional support, to find other, I don't want to say vices, but you have to work through what causes your stress. How do you react to
Yep.
stress? How do you react to grief? Because there is going to be a time where food's not going to be able to fill that for you anymore.
No.
Wait, I hear your clock.
I told you. 2 minutes fast, just like last hour.
But you had said that it was like every 15 minutes. I didn't hear it at all during
Yeah,
this.
we were so busy talking the rest of the
Oh,
time that it's
really?
so
Oh,
faint. Yeah, but
oh my
the
God.
hour clock is much louder.
I can't believe we're actually already practically out of time. But before we go, um, knowing everything that you've gone through, if you had to do it all over again, is there anything you would have done differently?
Done anything? Not get pregnant when I did.
But we said everything happens for a reason.
But everything does happen for a reason. Yes. Jillian is the light of my world, and I wouldn't change getting pregnant. Would I change when I got pregnant?
Okay, that's
Yes.
fair. That's fair. The
Um,
timing might have been changed.
timing would have been changed, but I wouldn't change getting pregnant.
Fair enough.
Just timing.
I think that's fair. I've actually had somebody find out. I think they had the surgery and found out 2 months later they got pregnant. That
You're supposed to wait 2 years. I was right on the
yeah,
borderline.
they say like,
Right on the borderline.
I think my doctor said like wait 18 months to 2 years. I mean, like, it's been
Yeah.
eight years for me, so I figure like I think it's safe for me to try if I wanted to.
You might want to try.
Well, I'm not getting any younger. Like, that's what everybody tells me. Um, well, first and foremost, to everybody who's been watching, like, it's been such a pleasure, like, having you guys, make comments and show Jen support. Jen is such an amazing soul. And like I said, I was so blessed that our paths have crossed and we've become friends and we get to shoot the shit and share our successes and our lows and highs. Before we go, do you have any parting thoughts today?
I don't think so.
I want to put you on the
No.
spot. I want to make you uncomfortable.
No, I'm not. I mean, it was a very fast hour.
It goes by so quickly every single time. Would you? Well, I don't even want to ask you. I'm just going to assume you're going to come back again
I will come back again for sure.
because I want you to come back after you've been on a roller coaster, and I want you to tell me all about it.
Oh Lord, Chris, you hear her? We have to go to Cedar Point now.
No pressure. And then if I come to visit, you're going to take me there.
Sure.
Okay, fair enough. So for all of you guys who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you want to watch this episode later on, where I'm a hot mess. It will be available on Spotify, on Apple, on iTunes, pretty much anywhere where podcasts are. It's Unzipped with Sherry. You can watch us live every week on Wednesdays at 12 o'clock noon Pacific Standard Time on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, also at Unzipped with Sherry. If you have any questions, if you have any topics, if you know anybody who wants to come on the show and share their story as well, you can reach out to me at sherryarcuria.com, which is just basically my name here at the bottom.com. And then Jen, thank you so much again
Thank
for
you
being
for
on the
having
show
me.
today. It's been such a pleasure. And I hope you guys all have an amazing rest of your week.